morning, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Kiddo's absolutely delirious outside, swinging on his hammock on the patio, and I am so tired. He's been up for a very, very long time, but at least he's in a good mood. We just had breakfast. It's Thursday morning. I'm trying to get back into the swing of daily vlogging. So, yeah, it's coming along. So last I left y'all, or the last thing I left you with, is that my parents are not in town. They had to fly across the country for a funeral, unfortunately. So like, of all the things to have to travel for, definitely like the least fun one, but they're there now. They arrived safely last night, and they should be arriving safely back tomorrow. So just whirlwind adventure of arriving, grieving, and returning. Again, not very much fun, but it is what it is. My sister's having a birthday while they're gone, so I'm assuming that we're gonna get to all hang out and see each other over the weekend to celebrate. If that happens, I'll bring you guys along. I'm actually kind of hoping that because they've been traveling that we could have quarantined, but it turns out my husband is going to be the one that picks them up from the airport, so it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So yeah, not feeling great about that, but it is what it is. So yeah, whatever happens this weekend, obviously I'm going to bring you guys along. The Grand Vegas, my gosh, my brain is so scrambled. The Las Vegas Grand Prix is this weekend, and our wedding anniversary is also this weekend, but we're very low-key about that. We're not probably going to do anything super exciting. We're just going to hang out, which is fine by me. Just having my husband here, like, especially because earlier this week he traveled and he was gone for 3 days, 2.5 days, whatever. It seemed like forever, and we were so excited to see each other again. We've just been attached at the hip since he returned. It's pathetic, I know, but when you find your person, right? So just the fact that we get to be together this weekend, that's enough for me. If we end up doing something, I will not bring you guys along because it's our anniversary, so that's just for us. But yeah, all that to say, there's plenty going on this weekend. I'll try my best to share what I'm able, but for right now, it is Thursday. We have 2 therapies scheduled, and I am not mentally prepared for any of them, but the time is drawing near. So regardless of how mentally prepared I am, I do have to get ourselves and the house ready to therapize. So with that being said, I'm going to go and get that handled now. And as far as the rest of the day, actually, let me tell you guys what I have going on. I was meant to record a couple recipes yesterday, and I didn't get around to it because plans shifted around and it just got really complicated. So I ended up not recording at all yesterday. I did edit some videos, but no recording. So today I'm going to finish editing a video that I started editing yesterday. I'm gonna edit the last episode because it has to go up for you guys. And then if time allows, it should, but if time allows, I'm gonna record 2 recipes today. So wish me luck with that. And happy Thursday. My friends, it is Friday. It has simultaneously been the longest and shortest week ever, but it's finally Friday morning, and some fun developments. Well, first off, this is not the fun development I was going to tell you about, but I should update you guys that my parents got on their first flight, landed safely. They're currently on their second flight. So far, so good. So they'll be home in a little under 3 hours, and then all of that is behind us, right? Except, of course, are we quarantining or not? Probably not, but anyway, the travel aspect is behind us. The fun development I was going to tell y'all about is that I think last time that we had a little chat as far as like a vlog, I had told you guys that I was having, I forget actually, because it's been like a month since I've been vlogging. So a month ago, I was either in the midst of an ear infection or I had already started treatment for an ear infection, and it was sort of just to catch you up, because I honestly don't know what was the last thing I told you guys. I did end up seeing an ENT, and the ENT was on the same page with me about not wanting to jump straight into antibiotics, not wanting to jump straight into like more hardcore stuff to treat the ear infection, because I've had a lot of ear infections, I've had a lot of antibiotics in my life, and so I prefer to do things in the more natural way, if I can manage it. If I can't, I can't, right? If it's something that absolutely will not be touched by more natural alternatives, I guess, then obviously I'll go ahead and do the antibiotics, because I'm not trying to stay with an ear infection. But if we can do a more natural course, then let's try that. And she agreed. So she told me, we have this medicine that will help, but it is a little more, you know, so let's try instead a 10-day course of you just daily putting drops in your ear that are half rubbing alcohol, half vinegar, because the vinegar will like kill the infection, the alcohol will kill the infection, but also like sterilize and then dry out the ear. So like that should do it. If it doesn't work, then we do have this medicine on backup that we'll try. So I did that. I went back to the ENT, and she was like, lo and behold, it worked. Perfect. Mwah. That was a week ago. Yesterday, randomly, at around dinner time, I didn't have any pain, I didn't have any discomfort, because the reason I realized previously, like 2 months ago at this point, that I had an ear infection is because I felt that my ear was like stuffed or clogged. And as a result, I couldn't hear from my left ear. Yesterday, while I was making dinner or eating dinner, then abouts, I realized that even though my ear was not stuffy or like clogged or like anything, I couldn't hear on my left side. And I thought, that's weird. I guess let me go ahead and put more of that alcohol vinegar solution and see what happens. And so I did. And it burned like hell, because it always burns like hell. It burns your skin. It's alcohol and vinegar, obviously. So it burned like hell. That passed. But then I realized, not only can I still not hear, but now my ear hurts. Like my inner ear, my eardrum hurts. As if I'd like stuck something in my ear and hurt myself. And I hadn't done that. I hadn't gotten any water in my ear. There was no reason whatsoever that I could think of for my ear to be feeling any sort of way, but especially not pain after the drops. And so the pain took maybe 15-20 minutes to subside, and still couldn't hear. That was last night. This morning, still can't hear. Completely dead. It's like I'm talking to you like this, like I'm holding one ear and I've only got this one open. So I've not put drops in again yet this morning, but I will. And then I'm going to very quickly message my doctor on the portal, update her on what's going on, because literally today, a week ago today, she saw me and said, oh my gosh, it worked. Your ear looks perfect. Let me know if anything happens, but you should be fine. Like, this should be done. This chapter is closed. And now here we are, less than a week later, and I'm experiencing the same symptoms again. Actually worse than before, because it got to the point where my hearing was fine, but my ear was still infected. I just was no longer feeling symptoms. So if it wasn't because a doctor actually looked in there and went, oh yeah, I see a problem, I could have just continued living my life and never have realized anything was wrong. But now, supposedly, as of last week, I don't have any infection. But as of last night, I'm experiencing symptoms. So I don't know if she's going to just prescribe the medicine and have me start it. I'd rather not, because the fact that this feels different now, the fact that I just can't hear, but it's not clogged or anything, makes me wonder, like, is this a different kind of infection? Is something else going on here? So I hope that she'll tell me to come in so that she could check it out. And then if that medicine is what's appropriate, then fine. And if it's something else, then okay, that then. I just don't want to take that medicine and then it turns out that this is something different, you know? But either way, she can't do anything until I let her know. And calling the office is going to be a disaster, because it's such a big network that it's like, if I call, I'm going to end up actually talking to somebody in a different building altogether. They have to get in contact with the actual office. That person has to get in contact with the actual doctor, blah, blah, blah. The more direct thing is for me to just, hey doc, this is what's going on, help. And hopefully she replies in a timely fashion. So that's that thing. That's what's going on there. Today, we have 2 therapies scheduled, one of which is in person. We haven't had in person all week. So I'm going to tidy up the house some. I also want to record. I have to finish recording a recipe that I started yesterday and do an entire recipe altogether that I meant to start yesterday, but then my husband got home a little early, so I didn't have time to like finish it. So doing, I guess, a recipe and a half. then tidying the house, and pretty much, I don't know, whatever else happens in the day. Whatever else I might have time for, because I feel like my day's already pretty packed. So that's what's going on. First order of business though, definitely going to reach out to the doctor so that she has as much time as she needs to get back to me, hopefully at some point today. And yeah, happy Friday. Hey friends, real quick, fun little update for you guys on this Friday afternoon. I just got a call back from my ear, nose, and throat specialist, and after reviewing what of course the landscaper showing up right now even though they're supposed to come on Tuesdays, after reviewing what I wrote to her and after me describing to her again in detail what's going on, she basically said, that's concerning because it doesn't sound like it should be related to your ear infection. Your ear infection was gone. And you know, sometimes people just spontaneously lose their hearing. But we want to understand why. So, it looks like since you're so far from downtown, there's pretty much not a way that you're going to get here in time today to do a hearing test. And typically, I'm not in clinic on Mondays. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have somebody call you to schedule you for Monday for a hearing test downtown. And I'm going to make it a point to come in while you're there just so that I could look in your ear and make sure that it's not another infection, or like if it is, then we'll know. But basically I don't want to wait any longer than that because a spontaneous hearing loss like this is something that needs to be addressed, which I agree wholeheartedly. So I have all weekend to think about the fact that my hearing loss might be permanent and that she's concerned enough to move her schedule around and show up to clinic even when she's not supposed to be there just to like look at my ear. So yeah, so that's great. So I'm waiting for them to call me back as far as like actually scheduling it and whatnot. And that's something that I'm doing next week. So there's the update. Never a dull moment. Sorry it's dark, the angle's funky, but it's been only about an hour and a half since I last talked to you guys, and there's yet another development because again, never a dull moment. Kiddo slept fine last night as far as I know, and he slept a good 11-12 hours. But all day, he's had 2 or 3 slices of pepperoni. He's not wanted to eat anything else, in spite of me offering everything under the sun. I have so many of his safe foods available, he's not interested in any of them. He also basically took his meds this morning, but otherwise has refused any water, any drink at all. On top of that, he's been kind of low energy. Typically when he oversleeps, he is a little more mellow that day, but this is like even beyond that. Like this is uncharacteristically low energy for him. And now the kicker is that in the last hour and a half, 2 hours or so, he's developed a runny nose that's pretty much constant. Good news is that the runniness is like clear, but it's pretty much a constant runny nose for the last couple hours. So I let his in-person therapist know, like, this is what's going on. He says he wants to see you, but if you would rather not chance being exposed to whatever he might have going on, I completely understand if you'd rather not come. And he was like, no, that's fine, I'll chance it. Now, it could be anything. My son does not have environmental allergies, but who knows? Today is the first full day, because it's kind of started last night. Today's the first full day of our first cold snap of the year. And for us in South Florida, that means that it was 61 degrees when we woke up this morning. And it's in the mid to high 70s right now. But there is a change in the feel of the weather as far as like it's drier outside right now than it typically is. So potentially it's that too, although currently he's outside right now and that's the first time he's been outside today. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here, hoping it's any and everything but him being sick. The therapist came and they were having a great session, but about 35 minutes in, my son just said to him, all done, goodbye. and like walked away from the table. And since he already knew that kiddo wasn't feeling well, he was like, you know what, that's fine by me. Like, the work that we did do, he did well. He was cooperative. He was like super chill the whole time. If he feels like he's reached his limit, that's fine with me. So he went ahead and he left early. And I took advantage of the fact that he had definitely not had anything to eat or drink in that last 35 minutes or so. And I went ahead and gave him a COVID test. That's negative, thank goodness. It might be too early to test. I'm trying to think, in the last week, the only places that any of us have been, besides obviously hubby going to frickin' Boston on Monday through Wednesday, although I feel like that's a little too early. Like, we would have only just been exposed to him on Wednesday afternoon, and kiddo's already with a runny nose. That feels very fast. But we all went over the weekend to Kohl's, and we went to my parents' house. At Kohl's, we masked up, because we mask up whenever we go anywhere. And then earlier this week, remember my mom and I took him to the endocrinologist, and we were all masked for that as well. And obviously a mask is not a foolproof 100% barrier, but we weren't like raw dogging anybody's air or anything. So I don't know what's going on. I'm very, very happy that the COVID test is negative, obviously, and hopefully he starts to feel better, and it is just like the weather or something funky, and B, if I continue to test, he'll continue to be negative. But this is very, very strange, and he hasn't been under the weather whatsoever since he had COVID in 2022. So, yeah. So that's yet another thing that's going on right now. Hey friends, it is Saturday afternoon, and kiddo is still not feeling great. He's still drippy and sniffly and whatnot. But he slept okay, all things considered. And last night, he did start to eat. Like, his appetite came back. He had breakfast this morning as well. He didn't eat as much as I would have liked, but he ate, which hadn't been happening. So, overall, at least it went in that direction and not worse. I had a bit of a sniffly nose last night, and it totally gone away. So, dealing with that now. And then this morning, hubby started complaining about having a bit of a drippy situation going on. But otherwise, I'm still feeling okay, and he's feeling okay, again, except for the obvious sniffles. So, what can we do, right? Hubby is off getting us a romantic takeout feast. Because we're feeling too blah. Like, my mom offered to come over and babysit and stuff, but like, we're all feeling way too blah to like do anything. So I'm just gonna have a low-key day at home, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I have some things I want to do. Like, you might be hearing the washing machine going in the background, so like, obviously I'm doing laundry and like little things like that around the house. Another, like, the big thing I wanted to make sure to accomplish today is I want to do sort of like a purge of my son's like drawers, in particular the clothes that he has in his drawers, because currently he has, I'd say realistically, a dozen t-shirts that he wears constantly on rotation, but his t-shirt drawer is so stuffed full of clothes that he can barely shut it when I finish, like when I've done laundry for him that all his clothes is clean, the drawer will barely shut properly. And he hates that. That drives him nuts. Because obviously he wants everything to look proper and streamlined and whatnot. And so the way that I'm looking at it is, well then, if you're only going to wear a dozen shirts anyways, might as well donate, get rid of whatever you're not typically wearing, and then you have that much more room in your drawers. So that's the big job that I'm hoping to accomplish today, in spite of the fact that I woke up feeling kind of crummy. As long as that gets done, I'm totally cool with just rotting on the couch all day. This couch, I don't think I've shown you guys actually the full majesty of the couch, because when I showed it to you guys, it was just like over my shoulder. It's currently covered in blankets and pillows and everything, because we've literally made it a fort. But see, hubby's got his laptop over there, so that's his little corner. And then kiddo and I kind of alternate between the middle and this section here. But this lounge area is super, super, super long. As I mentioned in this video, or maybe in the last one, 5 full-grown adults can lay out here comfortably with room to spare. And so, I don't know, it feels like the couch has a gravitational pull of its own, regardless of what you're intending to do. Once you end up on the couch, you're not doing anything else. Oh, special appearance by the tissue box and all the tissues that kiddo has abandoned there. So like I said, as long as I get kiddo's drawers squared away today, if the rest of the day is just us cuddling and hanging out on the couch, that sounds like a good day to me. And tomorrow we were planning to go to my parents', but honestly, like, it really depends on how we all wake up feeling tomorrow. Because if you were to ask me right now, are you down to do anything this weekend? No. No, I'm not. I just want to stay home and rot on my couch. Maybe I'll wake up feeling differently tomorrow, but right now, it's just not appealing to me. So, we'll see. We'll see how the situation shakes out. But that's what's going on today. That's the update. And so, happy Saturday, I guess. Good morning, friends. It's Monday morning, and I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up the episode tonight because I barely recorded over the weekend. Kiddo is still sick. I am sick to a lesser degree. I've had a little bit of like a annoying, nagging little cough, and my nose has been running some. Again, not as much as kiddo's has, but yesterday in particular, I was having that, like, you know, that overall general malaise one has when you're sick. And like that headache, that's a very particular special headache. Oh, kiddo's up. I was really hoping he'd sleep through this next meeting I have. So I just had that like sort of funky lingering headache that you only get when you're sick. If you know, you know. And so I tested us both for COVID. We were both negative yesterday. I tested myself again this morning and I'm still negative. I'm going to hopefully test him now. Let me see if I have time. I have literally 1 minute before my meeting. I'm going to test him now before he starts to eat or drink anything, assuming he'll eat or drink, because that's been kind of spotty the last couple days. But I have an ear doctor appointment today, so I have a meeting now with his therapist, and then we don't have anything else for the rest of the day, unless his in-person therapist comes. But he's sick, so I really think I'm going to cancel. This whole week is kind of like that because it's Thanksgiving also, so there's like really nothing going on therapy-wise. Except potentially in person today and in person tomorrow. So we'll see if that happens. But anyway, I just wanted to catch you guys up. I'll pop back in after my meeting if I have time, but if not, I'll pop back in tonight and let you know how my doctor appointment went. Let me quickly test him. I'm already late for my meeting. Happy Monday. Y'all, it's Monday afternoon. I feel ass today, I'm not gonna lie. As soon as we got back from our doctor's appointment, I crawled up on the couch, I set kiddo up with lunch, and I knocked out for almost an hour. And if it weren't because he started blasting his iPad, I probably would have slept for longer. Like, I could sleep for longer. Feeling really, really bad. A lot of sinus pressure. I have a headache. The headache is probably because I'm tired though. But yeah, it's been a little bit rough today. Kiddo is eating, which is great, and not drinking as much as I'd like, but he's also drinking without me having to like be on him about it, so I'm happy about that too. However, his cough is getting worse. So at this point, I'm just, again, super, super grateful. Could not be more grateful that it's not COVID. But also really, really astounded, honestly, that we're sick at all, because we've come into contact with so few people in the last over a week. But also, like, just hoping that we both feel 100% by Thanksgiving. At this point, I'm usually in charge of the turkey, but I'm thinking my mom might have to be the one that at least prepares it. I know, baby. He's got the biggest smile on his face, but this cough is just out of hand. I might have to like FaceTime her and explain to her exactly what to do to the turkey. Because usually on a Tuesday, I'd go over to her house and start the preparation. And then on Wednesday, I'll just like direct her to flip it over so that it has time to brine on both sides, because typically we don't have a vessel big enough to submerge the whole turkey. And then obviously on Thursday, we actually cook. But I don't think that I'm going to be able to actually do anything at her house tomorrow. So that's all happening. As far as the actual ear doctor appointment, they did a hearing test first. And I really thought that, especially on my left side, it was not going to be a good result. But she showed me the report, and I told her, like, I don't understand what any of this means, because it was mostly graphs and stuff. And she's like, okay, fair enough. Let me explain. This here is your actual, like, eardrum mechanics, how your eardrum responds to sound. And that has nothing to do with you reporting. That's just something we stick on your ear and we, like, check. And it's 100% on both sides. And then as far as the actual test, where you had to say yes every time you heard a beep in either ear. So basically the way that they do it, if you've never had a hearing test, because I've had multiple in my life at this point, first they'll put actual headphones on you, and like earmuff style ones. And they'll do one ear first where you'll hear all sorts of different beeps and tones and like hums. And every time that you hear anything, no matter how faint, you're supposed to say yes or raise your hand or however the person running the test wants to do it. But you're supposed to indicate, I heard something. Then they switch and they do the other ear. Then they do it again, but this time one ear will have the beeps and buzz and you know, the sound, and the other one will just have static. So basically you have to try to hear the tones in spite of the static blasting in your other ear. And then they switch again. Then they do it internally. So now instead of big earmuffs, they'll stick one thing in your ear to provide the static, and the other thing will actually go behind your ear. And the thing behind your ear is providing the tones and beeps. Same exact thing, where they're telling you, you know, just raise your hand or whatever every time you hear a beep or a tone or a whistle or whatever. But now you're still battling the static that's inside your ear. And the last part of the test was a male voice saying, say the word haystack, say the word baseball, say the word what, and then, but the thing is that his voice is getting lower and lower and lower in volume, and again it's in one ear, while the other ear you're getting static. So bottom line is A+ all around. I heard things that I even wasn't supposed to, things that they don't expect a person with perfect hearing to hear. I still heard them. So it's not my hearing per se, it's what I've said since I was a child. Well, I haven't said it since I was a child, but since I was a child, since I was like 3, I think, when I got my first hearing test, my parents always suspected that I was hard of hearing because they would talk to me and I wouldn't respond, or I would have like a delay in response or what have you. And back then, doctors were ignorant. And they basically told my parents, she hears you just fine, she's just ignoring you. So I told my husband, my hearing's 100%, and he's like, oh, so you just don't want to hear me is what it is? Then no, is that, like we've suspected forever, I have auditory processing disorder. And what that means is that I can hear you, I just don't understand what the hell you're saying to me. So it takes me a minute to go, oh, okay, and then respond to you. And a lot of the time, even when I respond, I'm still responding to something that I think I heard, but it might not be what you actually said. So anyways, the point is that the hearing test portion was fine. But then they checked my ears, and the infection is back. So it turns out that the vinegar and rubbing alcohol solution was working as long as I was using it. But once I stopped using it, because she said use it for 10 days and then stop, once I stopped using it, the infection came back. So obviously there was enough infection left that when I allowed it to be untreated, it ramped up again. So now I have to actually do the prescription drops that we were trying to avoid, but it is what it is, so I'm going to have to do those. And she had to go into my ear with tools and remove a layer of skin from my eardrum that had infection on it, with the idea of, if I remove this, then hopefully between the removal and the drops, this will finally go away once and for all. And it felt exactly how you might imagine. It was a very, very stabby sensation. There's no numbing or anything involved. And worse yet is that she gave me a play-by-play of exactly what she was doing, exactly what part of my ear she was in at the time, etc., etc. So yeah, so that was not very comfortable, but I survived. Even now I feel like my ear's clogged. And she says that the pressure is perfectly normal because you have an infection. So, and it's probably because I'm sick. So, I don't know if the sick, it has to be that the sick caused the infection. I was going to say maybe the infection caused the sick, but no, because my son does not have any infections. He's just sick. So, it just, funky timing. It just is what it is. But that's all done. And actually the doctor is great. I really, really like her. And today was her day off, actually. And hello, Foot. She came into the clinic literally just to see me and check on my ear. Because she's been following my care this whole time. So she showed up to work even when she didn't have to, just to check on me. So super, super cool. And now the thing to do is I'm going to follow up with her in a couple of weeks after I've done this whole regimen of drops, which I have to pick up. And hopefully at that point, everything's all clear. Although I did already get an all clear, and then here we are again. So whatever. Yeah, that's the update though. So I think I am going to go ahead and wrap up the episode now, even though it's just afternoon. Kiddo's moving the table now. I want to have a chance to edit, etc. And get this out in time for you guys before the holiday. So that's what's going on with me. I'm going to continue to vlog, probably starting the day before Thanksgiving and then the actual holiday. And that episode, that vlog, is going to be day 1 of Vlogmas, because this year Thanksgiving is like right before December. So December 1st, I'll do a little bit of like an introduction to what I'm planning to do for Vlogmas, but it will be within that next vlog episode. It's going to be a full vlog that just happens to mention Vlogmas in it. And then from then on, I have recipes and hauls and more vlogs and all sorts of things happening every single day from December 1st to December 25th. So I hope you guys are subscribed, and I hope that you guys will stick around for that. In the meantime, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Wish us luck on feeling better before the holiday. And I hope you have a fantastic holiday weekend, whether you celebrate or not. Hopefully you at least get some time off to chill. We'll talk again really, really soon. Bye.